In this video, I'm going to talk about 12 things I wish I knew when I was younger. The first thing, the first thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that a college degree does not guarantee a job. College has its benefits, and there are some professions, don't get me wrong, that absolutely require some type of formal education, some type of degree and or certification or license, right? Of course, someone like a surgeon is required to have the medical training and practice to be able to perform the duties of a surgeon. And you would want your surgeon to have that education and training. You would want your surgeon to have that degree, right? But for the average everyday person, someone who maybe is just getting into marketing or accounting or sales doesn't necessarily need a degree. You do need talent, you do need skill, but those are things that you don't have to acquire via a degree, a college degree. So, the first thing I wish I knew when I was younger was that a college degree does not guarantee a job. The second thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that building a business, is better than a 9 to 5 job, in my personal opinion. I have done better financially overall with my own businesses, small businesses, of course, but with my own businesses, I have done better overall in every respect financially, professionally, personally. It's just better to build a business than it is to have a 9 to 5 job. So, the second thing that I wish I knew when I was younger was that building a business is better than having or going after 9 to 5 jobs. Now, don't get me wrong, 9 to 5 jobs do serve a purpose, but if you can build a business and you have the desire, the tenacity, the skills, the know how, or the willpower to build a business, then why not build a business? You'd be better off in the long run than working a 9 to 5 job that could lay you off at any time. The third thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that parents are not perfect and they're not always right. Now, when I was growing up, I did everything that my parents told me to do. I didn't go against the grain. But as I got older, I continued to do what my parents told me to do. And I wish at some point earlier in life, I had started to develop the independence that I would need later on in life. I wish I had broke away sooner. I wish I had learned that parents, their advice when you get older is just that. It's just advice. It's not carved in stone. You don't have to do what your parents tell you to do after you're an adult. I learned late in my 20s that no matter what I did, I wasn't always going to please my parents, even if I did do the things that they told me to do. So that's the third thing I wish I knew when I was younger, that parents aren't always right and they are not perfect. The fourth thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that budgeting and money management is critical to your success in your later years. We learn a lot about finances and budgeting and money management from our employers or external sources as we enter the workforce. But the importance, the fact that it's incredibly critical to your success overall later in life is just not emphasized enough. Uh, I think investing and money management is something that should be taught in schools as early as elementary school, grade school, or middle school at least. But it's not taught to us. It's something that we learn on our own if we ever learn. And we oftentimes learn too late. So, the fourth thing I wish I knew when I was younger was money management, investing, and budgeting, and how critical that would be to the quality of my life and my success overall. The fifth thing I wish I knew when I was younger was that retirement savings is a must. It's not optional, because at 35 you feel great, at 45 you still feel pretty good, at 55 you start to feel a little wonky, and I don't want to say it's all downhill from there, but it's really hard to gain the momentum and save enough for retirement once you're midway through your 50s. So that is probably the fifth thing. That is probably one of the most important things, but it is the fifth thing that I wish I knew when I was younger, was the importance of savings for retirement, and that it's just not optional. It is a must. It is not optional. And that the 401k is not the only resource for saving your money. And actually, I encourage people to participate in their employer's 401k program as long as the employer has a match. Now, you can't bank on that 100%. So, this is just a little bit of advice for you as someone with a human resources background who knows a lot about 401ks and 403bs if you're working for a nonprofit organization. But you need to have other sources of retirement income, not just the money that's in your 401k. I'm not a financial advisor, so you're going to have to do your own research, but just know that the 401k or 403b that you have with your employer is just not enough. The sixth thing that I wish I knew when I was younger is that it's okay to ask for help. I don't know why I never learned to ask for help. It's still challenging for me to this day, but it is crucial for us to learn not just to give help or offer our assistance to other people, which I'm really good at, sometimes to a fault, sometimes without the permission of the person that I'm giving the advice to. And I'm learning to rein that in. But I also wish that I had learned to ask for help when I was younger so that it wouldn't be so difficult for me to ask for help now that I'm a little bit older. The seventh thing that I wish I had learned when I was younger is that it's okay to say no. It's always 100% always okay to say no in any situation. If if the situation goes beyond your boundaries, your personal boundaries, your comfort zone, if you're being asked to do something that you're just not entirely 100% comfortable with, whether it's something that you're being asked to do personally or professionally, I wish that I had learned that it was okay to say no and not worry so much about the repercussions or the lashback that I might have received as a result of saying no. So, if I had learned to say no when I was younger, I think I would have an easier time of saying no now when asked to do something that is beyond what I'm capable of doing or beyond my threshold. If I've reached a threshold in my life and I'm asked to do something beyond that threshold, I sometimes feel guilty. And I think that's wrong. I shouldn't feel guilty. And I'm working on that as well. But I do still sometimes feel guilty when I'm asked to do something and I can't find it within myself to say no. So it's okay to say no. The sooner you learn that, the better off you will be in the long run. It's also okay, on the flip side, it's also okay to not take no for an answer. And I mean, this isn't in the same respect that I just said that, I wish I had learned to say no sooner. It's okay to not take no for an answer when you know that you're in the right. So let's say, for instance, that maybe you're up for a promotion, or maybe you're applying for a promotion at work, and your supervisor says, well, no, I just don't think you're ready. You don't have to take that no for an answer, so to speak. You can ask questions. Well, what exactly do you mean by I'm not ready. Can you give me specifics? Are there some things that I can work on? Or you could flat out, if you're given reasons, you could flat out disagree with that no and the reasons for not promoting you or not being interested in you promoting to that role. The next thing I wish I knew, the eighth thing I wish I knew when I was younger, is that you don't have to apologize for everything. If you didn't do anything wrong, there's absolutely no reason for you to apologize. And this is something that I do quite often, and I actually recognize it in other people. And to my fault, I can be overly critical of people when I hear them saying, I'm sorry, or I apologize, and they haven't done anything wrong. And I've become more aware of it in myself more recently. Someone pointed it out to me. I was having a conversation with someone, and she said, well, you can be sorry if you want to, but, and I thought about that. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that I kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry over and over and over again throughout our conversation. But it is something that I have recognized in other people, and it is something that I am working on recognizing in myself. So if I haven't done anything wrong, if you haven't done anything wrong, there's absolutely no reason to apologize. The ninth thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that if a relationship, friendship, or intimate relationship no longer serves you, it's okay to move on. It's okay to move on. If you were friends with someone in high school, perfect example. If you were friends with someone in high school, you were friends when you were 15, 16, 17, maybe you were still friends in college, but later on in life, in your 30s, in your 40s, even your 50s, you just don't have anything in common anymore. It's okay to move on. It's okay. And if that person doesn't get it, that's on them. It's okay. You should be okay with the decision that you have made to move on from relationships that don't serve you anymore. Now, I don't mean for this to sound self-serving, you know, but if there's no mutual interest anymore, if you've got to the point where you've grown apart, you were here when you were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, but now your lives are like this, and you see no reason or there's no hope of coming back together, then there's no reason why you can't feel good about moving on from that friendship or relationship. Mm. The 10th thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that exercise is not a bad word. Exercise isn't always about weight loss. It's sometimes about just overall health and wellness. It's about feeling good about yourself. It's about heart health and staying active in the second half of your life, right? So, um, it's okay to not exercise every single day. I think the mentality about exercise is that it's about weight loss. And I think that's been driven into us by society. And it's not always about weight loss, it's about just your overall health and general well being. So that's the 10th thing I wish I knew when I was younger. And that fast food isn't food, really. the That's the 11th thing. 11th thing I wish I knew when I was younger is that fast food isn't really food. And the last thing that I wish I knew when I was younger, this is something that I share with my career coaching clients all the time, and that is that you can always negotiate your pay. It doesn't matter that the job may have been advertised at $60,000 or $70,000 or $80,000 for that matter. You can always negotiate your salary, and I highly recommend that you do so. Companies always have a budget and it's always a range, and they never post the highest the highest amount in that range on the job posting. It's always either low end or somewhere in the middle. There's always 100% always room for negotiation of your pay. So I highly encourage you to do so.